Good evening and welcome to On Point Opinions. My name is Bobby Kinzer,
And I'm Juan Holcomb.
and we are On Point Opinions, the show that discuss the topics all around the United States of America and the world. And what we like to say, me and my good buddy Juan Holcomb, it is definitely our opinions, but we're dealing with facts. So it may be our opinions, but we are dealing with facts. And we try to cover from A to double A all the things that's happened. This is a monthly show. We do it once a month, by the way. And it's the first Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. So I hope you make sure you share this with other people, especially on Facebook Live and on YouTube. We like for you to go out there and subscribe. We got a lot of issues, and the reason why we started the show is because there's so much misinformation out there. And then there's a lack of information, but the biggest one is misinformation. So me and Juan decided, and we both have opposing views sometimes. We agree on a lot of things, but sometimes we have, just like everybody out there. But one of the good things that we hope that we get out of me and Juan's discussion is all about a conversation, you all. Because unless you understand about another person or, walk in another person's shoes, how can you really attack people when you don't really, you got to see another person's point of view, and that's on point opinions. So July the 6th, the last time we was in August, excuse me, July. Juan, between months, there are so many topics, man. I mean, there's so much going on, Juan.
Yes.
I I look at it, it's so much bad. But you know what's so interesting, Juan? There's so much good going on. It's just that it seems like they thrive off of publicizing the bad for some reason. But
yes,
just as much good is going on, Juan, there is a whole lot of a lot of good going on. So
a lot of good going on. Bad news travels fast, they say.
Yeah. So we want to remind you all, full disclaimer, that this is just our opinions. We're not trying to offend anyone, and it's just our opinions. So we're giving that disclaimer, and we hope y'all understand that. One more administrative thing, two more administrative things. One, before we get into the show, please click on the like button, because that's how we get more traction to reach more people. And the heart button, please. You can't click it enough times. They don't count you doing it. They just count the amount of time. So the more you do that, the better it is for us. And the last thing I like to say, we like to make this interactive. And the way we make this interactive is by the comments that you put into the box. You can comment on our opinions, or you can give your own opinion. And we also like to cover as much as we can. So put some topics that you like for us to discuss. We're open, and we'll address any statement or question you have in the comment box. So with that, Juan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Bob, and got a little round of golf today, so I'm feeling good. Ended it on a birdie too. So
where did you play?
Rattlewood, Mount Airy, Maryland. So
man, ended on a birdie. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, so that makes you want to come back for more. A little shaky in between, but I began it right and ended it right, so it makes all the difference in the world.
You know the old saying, old golfers never die, they just lose their balls.
And I'm still looking for some.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. So Juan, with that, let's start off the top of the show, which we do. We recap some of, which is a lot, some of the events that has happened since we last had our show in July. And then what we do, we come back and we pick out some of the ones that we chose that are the most meaningful, not most meaningful, just the most important ones, should I say, to us, that we think, and then we get a taste from other people and what's on the news, and we'll give our opinions on those particular topics. So Juan, God, and no, this is not necessarily in order, but these are things that just happened over the past month.
Yes.
The new Florida education standards teaching African American history. we'll get into that. But they're saying that slavery actually benefited slaves. How insulting can it be, Juan? But let's keep going. DeSantis, right? Now, this is DeSantis leading that
Yes, yes.
education department.
He's all through our hour here.
Yeah, because he's all through the news. He's all through running for president, and he's running a terrible campaign because one of the issues that came out, he shakes up his whole campaign and fired 12 of the people, I think, top people on his campaign, and been running through the money. They say approximately between $20 and $40 million. And so he's running through money. The difference between his campaign and Trump's is Trump be averaging, like, his average donors are like $30, right? He taking all those poor people's money. But DeSantis, he doesn't have as many donors, but most of his donors are major big
money,
big money donors. That's why it's so interesting that he's talking down on corporations, but most of his money is coming from corporations.
Right.
So anyway, then we got Hunter Biden, who accepted a plea deal. Then they pulled the plea deal back because they're really trying to go after. We know they're trying to go after Joe Biden. We understand that, but they're going to trying to get Hunter again. That issue's up again, and they had a guy who came in supposed to have been the whistleblower for Hunter Biden. And this guy was doing illegal guns and he's what do you call a fugitive. They still, this is the guy they had testify. And then they had Hunter Biden's, Biden's business partner, and we're going to talk about that.
We'll talk a little bit about that in there.
Everything that he said in the hearing. Then the big one, Juan. Jack Smith, who ain't playing.
Doesn't seem like it.
Indicted Donald Trump for the third time on 4 major felonies. And it's so tight, a 45 page, right? 45 page, but it's over 100-something paragraphs.
Right.
And it's tight, you know, and we'll talk about that. But I mean, this is all about really him.
January 6th.
No, it's not. They're not making it about the insurrection. It's really about him trying to keep the transfer, the orderly transfer, peaceful transfer of power, and they're getting them on obstructing people's rights to vote. But which is so crafty in there. They didn't have to mention it, but all of this then comes and accumulates into this insurrection. So he didn't have to say the insurrection because he know they would try to pin him on that. They saying that's one of the what do they call it? One of the Sedition Act. Sedition Act, and that's hard as one to get somebody in court on. But they coming the other way about it's constitutional, keeping the people's rights and trying not to count out votes. Then you got the multiple
and using the Ku Klux Klan Act, but we'll talk about that.
And using the Ku Klux, and then Trump has the nerve after as soon as he gets indicted to go to Alabama and have the first speech after being indicted. And where? Alabama. And then but Alabama got their problems too. Okay,
absolutely.
But then you got the multiple felony accounts against the fake electors in 7 different states, Juan.
Right.
And there's some people going to jail.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
That's disturbing. 7 states they tried to make their fake elect, and they signed stuff. They're gonna act like, oh, we didn't know we were signing. I'm like, wait a minute, you're elected for your state, and we're gonna talk a bit about that. Yeah. Then you got Biden. Biden solidifies the NATO. The first time this solidification of if that's a word, of the NATO, because Trump just had everybody against everybody. Trump dividing the country, dividing countries, but Joe Biden has pulled everybody back together. Yes. NATO, this is the strongest they've ever been. Not only they've been keeping out Turkey for the longest, and Sweden, they brought them in. Now Ukraine is still trying to get in, but the jury's still out on Ukraine, and I got some issues with Ukraine. Anyway.
I don't think they want to do it while they're fighting or something like that.
Yeah, but this is more too. But we're not making this a racial show. Okay, now even though we talk about racism, you know,
You
because
almost can't help it.
we're
It's a little
black,
bit part of
and,
everything.
oh, it's back of everything. But it's not like we're trying to make it that. But I just want to say, Juan, when it comes to Ukraine, there's no black people in Ukraine. But I'll leave that alone. But it's not ironic. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Because, you know, remember, Putin was trying to get Ukraine over being nationalist, by the way. People don't know that's the really reason why Putin was supposed to be why they're attacking Ukraine, because it's crazy.
Wasn't there something about Nazis though too?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Nationalists.
Yeah.
About being nationalists. Yes.
Okay.
Nazism, white nationalists. That's why I brought up the point. There's no black people there, Juan.
Well, but it is well, there's something about that. Yeah, you got to do
Yes,
a little history.
and there's more to the Ukraine thing, because it's about resources too. Because they like number 2 in steel, ore, iron ore, and wheat, and all this kind of stuff. So don't let them fool you. And then they got oil and gas. But then you got
we debated, and you know, Bob, you and I debate about the war. But we're going to
talk about no. We're going to hit a little bit on that, and I just got a few more on the list, you all. Let me just go back fast. And then Russia goes on an offensive when they actually attacked. Ukraine is going on offensive. They actually attacked Russia with a drone, letting them know, okay, two can play that game. And I'm a little bit got an opinion on that one. I'm going to talk.
Okay.
Then we got Robert Kennedy Jr., Robert Kennedy's son, who's running against Joe Biden. But this guy got some issues, man. Oh, my God. He said because of black people's blood, they reacted different to the vaccine, because he's an anti-vaccine person and anti a whole bunch of other stuff. But then then you got Cornel West, the great, you know, wild man from Borneo, running for the Green Party. So, you know, that's going to bring some issues whenever you start having a third party running. I don't know who that's going to affect more, the Democrats or the Republicans. Then just 2 more on, then we will get into getting over the topics. Orlando Magic's Rick DeVos, the DeVos family who owned the Orlando Magic NBA team, made a big donation to DeSantis. And the players was totally against this. And the NBA Players Association was totally against it too. How could you, a predominantly black team, black coach? So that's another issue.
Interesting. That's interesting too.
That is, isn't it, Juan?
Another big thing though happened too, Bob, was they convicted the shooter for the Tree of Life in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
I think they can the death penalty.
Yes.
There's many people who are against the death penalty, but I guess it's on both sides. But they convicted that guy.
And Juan, that brings another issue too that, you know, we didn't put down on our list, but
what's that?
It brings up the issue about the death penalty. I don't know how you feel about the death penalty, but I'm 6 half a dozen. You know, because a lot of people that end up with the death penalty was not tried fairly. So I struggle with the death penalty there. But then on the other side, Juan, there's people, I wish they just save money and stack them all in the same chair and pull the bag on and electrocute all of them, because some of the stuff they did is just hideous. So I'm a 6 half a dozen, but I'm not going to get into that.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I did. And the last one is the Washington, I just despise this name, the Washington Commanders just got bought out by a consortium with Magic Johnson for $6 billion.
$6 billion.
$6 billion and
over $6 billion.
And over $6 billion. And the man who Snyder, he only paid $600 million. What an investment, Juan.
What an investment.
So Juan, let's go, man. You take it off. Let's start off with the first topic, Juan. You take it. Let's go.
Hot topics. Jump right in, do some Biden updates, you all. And we like to kind of see what's going on, with this administration as we get into the campaign season. But Biden, the job numbers were lower than expected. Bob just came out.
No, but just for this month.
For this month, I'm sorry. Yeah, 187,000 jobs, which was under the estimate of 200 plus,
Not,
but unemployment is down to a low of 3.5%. The economies, they say, showing a bit of resiliency, which they say the economists feel like, and the economy is kind of stalling, which you really have to understand finance. They want you for the economy not to be bursting, so that inflation will lower, and that they don't want you to spend, and so on and so
you got to
forth.
spend to get the economy going. You got to spend.
Right. But so they say that it may be a soft landing, what used to be a thing about a recession. But
remember, inflation was 9% last year. Is down under 4%.
Why 4?
Did you hear what I said, Warren? Inflation is down under 4%.
No wonder they don't mention it anymore.
You notice that, Warren? They don't mention inflation. See how they do?
They just stopped mentioning that. Like, wait a minute, what was it? And then gas prices are going back up.
Yeah.
I always ask the question: are the gas companies gouging, Bob? Are they gouging, man, or oil companies really have to, tighten the ship, or they can't let oil out, or something, or the war? But I just think they old-fashioned gouging.
Yeah, it seems
electric
like
cars take them over.
The Arabs over there, OPECs, they slow down the barrels and then they increase the barrels. That's why the electric cars is putting a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
On the oil and gas industry.
A lot of pressure. Their time is coming. So they're gonna squeeze every last bit of gas. I'm still a guzzler. I'm close. I think electric is on my horizon.
I just paid my car off, Juan. If I didn't pay it off, I would have jumped into it because it don't make sense. I don't want no car bill. My last bill was July, man. But I'm telling you that Tesla, but Ford is having problems, man. Ford got about 26 things going on with the electric car, but in General Motors,
but everybody has one now, just about. So
General Motors said by 2035 they will get rid of the combustion car and they will be going all electric car. That's General Motors.
Right. Oh, absolutely. They know it's the future. It's easy for them.
Yeah. And I mean, come on, man. The money that you save, look, Juan, no carburetor, no spark plugs,
Right. But it makes sense. I've always said, if the battery don't work, you can't turn on the car. So why even have it? It all runs on the battery. If the battery doesn't work, nothing works.
That's a good one.
I never thought of, like, damn, why can't a car run without it? The battery runs everything.
Yeah.
So, hey, it just makes sense. But a lot of our friends, Bob, a lot of friends of mine have electric cars.
Yeah, mine too. But go ahead, keep going with the Biden update.
Okay, so Biden, he's been slowly working his things in there, Bob. So
So one question is, why is his survey number so low? I mean, I guess it's self-evident. They're going to say he's old, but so was Trump, and he's up like I don't know what.
I think people always want something to complain about, and the one thing that Trump does, Bob, and we talked about that since he ran in 2016. He sucks all the air out of the oxygen out of the air,
out of the
room. We talk about Trump incessantly, which is the most important thing. Actors used to say, any publicity is good publicity, whatever. If you're on TV, any time. So
I'm so tired of him, to be honest.
You're right. Yeah, to be honest. And Trump, but Trump sucks the air. But I think Biden does well. I don't get caught up in those pieces. I think that the Republicans have some issues.
Juan, how can you be possibly thinking about voting for a man? And this is not, I'm not biased. The man is immoral. He was grabbing booties. I'm putting it lightly.
Right.
He led an insurrection. He mismanaged a pandemic. He raised the debt up over $7 trillion, and then he's indicted 3 times, getting ready to be indicted a 4th time, and people's like, "Oh, give him a chance, give him his day in the court." What kind of country are we living in, man? It's like all of a sudden they pulling the old banana and tailpipe move. I mean, that's the oldest trick in the book. Why? I don't want help me, please.
America,
help me, Juan.
but there's a
What's going on with the country? Look at Juan, and we had this discussion, Juan. Why? And I don't. Juan, let me just say it. I'm getting ahead of myself. But why are people not in an uproar in Florida with DeSantis just saying that stuff? And I'm bringing this, I'm getting ahead of myself because my point is, why are not more people in an uproar of these things that used to be just easy pickings? The man is corrupt.
Well, America, the vision of America, people have a different visions of America. And Trump, everybody likes to feel like they're rich, would like to be rich, quote unquote, with my little, in quotes, rich. There's something about it. Trump has that kind of star appeal. He's kind of a cross between a mobster and Trump appeal. I see my Sabrina has written in something. Yes, and I'm going to use what I see on the screen. But he's perceived as that meanness is strength. They like that. That's why DeSantis can't get any ground. He feels like
he can't get any ground. He's a punk. Straight up punk. How about that?
How great does Trump do with saying, if they're indicting me, they're not indicting me.
Oh,
they're indicting you.
That's reverse psychology.
I'm of you. Oh, it's great though. And you know, as a anthropologist, psychologist, sociologist, / as we do, you know, I'm an honorary degree sociologist.
But it's just like this guy. This is how stupid that is, Juan, because he plays the reverse thing, right? They take it always reverse. This guy said, "I'm writing a book about reverse psychology. Please don't buy it." Come on, man. It's so stupid these days, man.
Right.
Juan, I can't take it. I'm telling you, man. I'm talking about moving.
I think folks want to go backwards. No, that's not happening.
But it's not going to happen, right?
It's not going to happen. But I find myself, Bob, and I have to sometimes. I've seen. So I'm in the same place. We've been here for over 50 years, and I see the change in the neighborhoods. I see the change over at the grocery store. Every time I go into the grocery store, I say to myself, look at the changes. I'm being nice.
No. What do you mean change? Because be specific.
Demographic changes.
Okay.
And that's from people all over the world, not just racial demographics, but every kind of demographic has changed. And I know that if I are like pining for something, I know how other folks are doing it. I can get over mine, but they want to put barbed wire fences up. Yeah, I get over mine. I'm with everybody, but I'm just saying I have to have that.
Look at the eternal Dolph L said, Trump is the white man's Martin Luther King, MAGA.
Yes. Because they call them populists. He makes it seem like he's a populist, but he's a grifter.
No, he's a grifter. And he's a white nationalist. Okay,
right.
You can't tell me he's nothing.
That appeals to a large.
So to wrap up this particular segment, tell me your take on Joe Biden. I think the issue is with Joe Biden, not only because there's always these secretive, undermining things. I think one of the things they're not saying, because at least the Democrats, we know the Republicans, they're just all right out talking about authoritarianism, doing it my way, forget y'all on the highway. We know what they're about. It's just straight up power. But what the Democrats are not saying, the same thing that happened with Hillary, this is what I think, Juan, my opinion. I think they're afraid of Kamala Harris. If Joe dies, she becomes the president. And I think it's a little under thing they're not really talking about.
Bob, that's an excellent observation. That's why they went to work immediately. When I say immediately, after the election, they went to work on Kamala Harris.
Right.
They went to work on her, called her, she's mean.
Staff.
They went to work. And it has worked. But to your point, that's a great statement, because they were showing the struggling field of people going up against Trump. They're struggling. And what's the woman name from South Carolina?
Nikki Haley.
Like that. The first thing she said, because they have nothing. We just said they can't talk about inflation. They can't talk about economy. They can't talk about. So the first thing she said, a vote for Biden. She said, you're going to be voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's
it. That's what they absolutely.
But Juan,
I agree with you 100%.
I want to backtrack one more time, because I want to make a comment when you're saying I forgot because I'm getting old. This is the thing about the economy. This is the thing about the economy, Juan. Like you said, man, some people said, you up, we down, we up. For people who got money, they're doing good. But people who have money, they're struggling. That's why they can't give you a real take on how the economy's doing, because the GDP is going along not that bad, man.
Right.
But yet they're saying, but people out there hurting. And you gave statistics, Biden has the most jobs in straight 28 months than any president in history, created more jobs, over 3 million jobs. But the economy,
people are spending money.
People are spending money, Juan, but this is the thing. People that have money, they're doing okay, but people who don't have money, they're hurting. That's just a fact.
And Democrats are finicky elected.
Because we got a melting pot of people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The Republicans all march in one, they march in one.
Right. Very finicky. Yeah,
it's just like the joke. What do you call a bunch of marching rabbits marching backwards?
What?
A receding hairline. But look, let's go to the next topic. One. I know I digress. I know. I'm sorry. So Juan, let's go to.
Okay. Yeah. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So the next topic, Juan, is the judiciary segment, and we know what that starts with. That starts with indictments of Donald Trump. 3 indictments, a 4th one coming. What's your feelings, Juan?
I'm trying to figure out what it all means.
Right.
I'm glad it came. I think they have a tough judge who's going to be fair. What did Mama you always say? Like, it's tough, but it's fair.
It's hard, but it's fair.
It's fair. So I think that it's good, but Trump is going to challenge him. Just like you mentioned, this indictment came down and they told him, you cannot intimidate witnesses. You can't talk. And he immediately goes down to Alabama and threatens everybody.
How about his lawyer all on TV today, on all the segments talking about, first they're trying the First Amendment move, right? They're trying to throw anything up the wall to stick. But it's not, and that's why Jack Smith is so good. They didn't even go after the First Amendment. They saw it coming. They said, no, they even said in the 45-page indictment.
Right.
He has every right to say it. They even said he can even lie. They said he can even lie. But the scenario they keep using, Juan, they say, but if you feel the bank, if taking your money and giving you took too many fees out of your money, you can't go around and then take money from the bank.
Right.
You can't say so freedom of speech. And the oldest other example, one about freedom of speech. Yes, you're free to say, almost anything you want, but the old other example is you cannot yell fire in a movie theater and there's no fire. You can go.
Right. You cannot do that.
Why are they forgetting? That's the oldest one. They keep up with the new one. That's the oldest one. Why are they even use? But they desperate one. Then the other one they're trying to use now. The other one they're trying to use freedom of speech. Oh, this is the other one now because that's not working. So now they're throwing this up against the wall. A lost one. One got to come back. The other one is he lost his clients. He was informed by his lawyers. That's no defense either. Okay. So the hardest part they're going to try to have to prove is intent. We lost Juan there for a minute, ladies and gentlemen, but he'll be coming back. But this is On Point Opinions, and we're on the judicial segment. Juan is out there. It's kind of hard to hear. Juan is back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I'm back.
So Juan, this is why I was at. The one they're trying to use now, because they have the First Amendment Jack saw it coming. Now, this is the hardest part, Juan. It's not an open and shut case for Trump. To prove intent is the hardest. What was he thinking? But I think they got so many people because they're trying to say, oh, he was advised wrong by his attorney.
Yeah.
They're trying to, look, just like Trump, throw everybody else under the bus. When will these guys learn? You know? But now, the thing now is going to be intent. And I think Jack got them on that because they know that's what it's going to come down to. And they got so many witnesses. But that's going to be the hardest part, Juan, to prove intent, whether Trump. And then if he keep this going against the judge, I don't know, man. They talk about how you unlock a president, ex-president, and he got Secret Service. And they came up with the reason how you can do it.
Put the Secret Service out front of jail.
No. They said put Trump in solitary confinement and he won't be around nobody.
Well, I think that that seems like a real possibility, but Trump is testing. He's going to test it. He's going to test his boundaries and see where his limit lies, because he's gotten away with it before. So I think that he's not as concerned. And one reporter said one thing they noticed about him in this arraignment versus the Eugene Carroll thing was that he's much more relaxed now. When he had to come in the courtroom, he's like looking around everybody, wave.
So don't let it fool you. Trump is worried.
Right.
He tried to play that hardball because
he's spending a bunch of money. A bunch of his people's money. Yeah, they say he's going through money.
And look, don't let him play it off, Juan. He is not sleeping at night, okay? Trump, I mean, because this guy, Jack Smith, ain't playing, and the lady out of Georgia.
No, yes. Oh, yes. He has quite a crew on him. They're coming. And they have some things on him. So I think he could be in trouble, but you got to wait to be seen with Trump. He's a Teflon Don.
Right. So let's talk about Hunter Biden for a quick minute, Juan. How you think that's going to turn out? They gave him a plea deal, then they pulled him down. They only were getting him on. You know, Juan, this is the interesting thing to me about this whole situation about Hunter Biden and the Republicans. One of the biggest things they're all about is taxes. 90% of them don't pay no taxes because they win. Hunter Biden didn't pay no taxes. Seems like that's on the Republican card. And then the next thing they're trying to get him on is a gun. Isn't that the Republicans' biggest thing about guns? So the two biggest things, taxes and guns, and they coming over Hunter Biden with one of their biggest.
And that's their favorite thing. Don't pay taxes and you got to have a gun.
Yeah, it's such hypocrites. So hypocrites, Juan. Now, that is so ironic.
And then he's paid the back taxes off now, hasn't
he? He's paid, yeah, he paid, right. And the gun thing, they said they're going to probably drop because he admitted to it. But now they're trying to take back the plea deal, and I don't know what. But now they're saying, so then Juan, his business partner, they had him testify. They subpoenaed him, and they
kept him behind. It was closed doors.
And he said,
question.
There's nothing. He said there's nothing there. But then he just happened to mention that Hunter Biden would call his father. And sometimes put him on the speakerphone when he was in these meetings. You know, sometimes just to show that he can call his father, but not one time did they ever talk business. They talked about what is the climate, how you doing. They came out of the hearing since it wasn't public, started going public talking about, oh, this is smoking gun. Joe was tied in, his son was calling them. And the guy said there was no impropriety there with the business partners, but they came and lied. This like it's I don't know. They just lie now.
Oh yes, it's easy
and easy. But they came out and said, and they said no. The guy said no. He said he called his father many times and put him on the speakerphone and try to show that he got his father. But Joe never talked any business. So they have nothing. For 5 people investigated Hunter Biden.
Most people think that the plea agreement is going to be signed soon. They fishing. They have nothing, Juan, and I'm just kind of upset with our country, man, because it's like, facts don't matter anymore. No, they don't, and they're going to play that Hunter Biden thing out because, as you said, Bob, earlier, they're after Joe, and if you have a son who's been in trouble, they might as well hit it. They feel like Trump's family was wrongly implicated in things. So this is going to be expected. You would
That's
think they would drop
the
it, but
money they made.
Especially when they don't have anything else.
5 years to investigate. So
5 years.
I mean, they might have stuff on. They might have stuff on Hunter, but I don't think they're gonna have stuff
with
on.
a Trump-appointed attorney
Oh,
investigating them for the last 5 years.
Jack Smith. Jack Smith is a Republican, Juan.
No, but I mean Jack Smith is
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying about the Republican.
Oh, really? I didn't even know Jack Smith. Well,
he's a Republican. Juan.
But most of them are. Most of those guys.
They said the 86 witnesses they have for this third indictment are all Republicans.
All Republicans.
Stop the thing of Fusas. So I don't know.
What else he don't want to be called in. That's right.
We're also on a judiciary ticket. They look. That took all the eyes off of the Supreme Court. All that money them was been taken from donors and stuff. They're taking the eye off of Clarence Thomas and Chief Judge Roberts. You know,
they like it when it's quiet.
But yet they said Congress doesn't have any constitutional right to dictate policy to the Supreme Court, and yet Congress does dictate policy to the executive branch.
Right.
So they say, how are you going to say they're not going to be able to do to the judicial? So now they're saying, Juan, they're coming up with rules and regulations that they made up themselves.
Right. Judge Alito came out on a show, just as arrogant as he can be, talking about that exact thing. They really need to do something about that. But I think that's what frustrates some more liberal parts of the Democratic Party, that they would like to see Joe Biden increase the numbers in the Supreme Court and do some other things. But I think those things affect him because, like you said, we have a melting pot and we want those changes. But
yeah, we got LGBTQ plus, we got Black nationalists, we got Muslims, we got Christians, it's so many Democrats. Yeah. We got so many different opinions. It's hard to come on one accord. All right, Juan, let's switch to the next.
And I'll just say the last judicial thing, Bob. I hope they do really, because Michigan has already started in on their the fake electors. Atlanta's investigating. In fact, the Fani Willis thing in Atlanta, the electors are part of their case against it, and it's a state-sponsored case. So if it convicted in the state, it can't be pardoned. Okay, so that's it. I just want to throw
and one last thing on the judiciary, Juan, I'm sorry, because this is not a racist show. But isn't it ironic that the judge on the recent indictments, the insurrection, if I could say, is a Black woman?
Yes.
The Attorney General in Georgia,
District Attorney in Georgia, Fani Willis, is a
Black woman. Bragg, the attorney in New York,
District Attorney in New York.
Isn't that ironic? See, Trump, careful what you talk about.
Letitia James,
and
the Attorney General of New York, Black woman.
Be careful what you talk about. Trump will come by and bite you. Okay, Juan, let's get back. Let's get on the talk. Let's talk about the politics, Juan. First of all, Juan, I can't believe that they politicized the student loan debt relief program and went to the Supreme Court, which is judicial again, but it's a little bit of both politics. Because really, I think politics played into it, and they shot it down. But President Biden is coming back.
The Supreme Court is all politics, right?
Yeah, it's all politics, all political. Right. But he's coming back. He just made passed the bill.
Explain that a little bit, Bob, where he went to get that, just so for our folks.
No, he just used his powers. Okay. He used executive powers, just like he did with the student loan debt. And then they took it all the way to the Supreme Court and denied it. But just so they haven't come after him yet. But he's taking $89 billion, okay, for a student relief package, right?
Right.
Then he's instituting a student loan relief on what they call income-driven grants, right? Basically, so what they do, they tie your payments to your income. So, for instance, anybody making $32,000 or less, they're not going to have to pay zero for their loans.
Okay.
And then it goes up according to the salary you make. So for some people, it could be taking off $300, $400 a month or more off their student loan payments, which is going to help them be able to pay. The other thing that helped Juan, in October,
that's clever.
Ends October, by the way, ends the how do they call it? The forbearances and on they froze payments, right? People didn't have to make payments on their government, federal student loans, right? Pandemic. That's 3 years.
Okay.
And moratorium I was looking for. They had a moratorium on, and so people that hadn't paid, and if I'm right, the interest wasn't accumulating either. But now it's getting ready to expire in September, and a lot of people is going to really get hurt, man, by by the student loan debt moratorium being lifted, and people are going to start paying their loans back. So Trump is trying to Biden is coming with some plans to help them, still work around with the Supreme Court. Now, somebody can come up with a case again against this one and take it all the way to the Supreme Court. But so far, nobody has stepped up.
Yeah, so far it looked like it's sliding through. I haven't heard anything, Bob.
Yeah,
there's so many other things happening. Maybe that just right.
It might be too early, and then the whole because of the affirmative action and everything in the schools. A lot of people probably don't know this, but a lot of HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, a lot of the presidents have been leaving, either retiring or just leaving, like Prairie View, Texas Southern.
Really, I don't think I realized.
I know that's a lot of people don't know. I just want to throw that out there. It just came in my mind. I didn't want to forget as a little point, but a lot of since we're talking about student loan debt and stuff like that, that's why this came up. But politics, Juan, oh man, what's up with DeSantis, man? Talking about slitting people's throats.
But Bob, before you even get to that, Bob, quickly, the credit rating of the United States was lower. Explain that
AAA to AA.
To AA.
It's not bad because it goes AAA, AA, A, triple B, double B.
But still, America's kind of not supposed to be
right. Lower. But it's all political again because they talk. We lost you there, Juan.
I'm still in there, Bob.
Okay, first didn't hear you. Your voice went away.
Yeah, that was intentional. I was saying so.
Okay.
Bob.
Okay. I thought you were talking. Okay.
Okay.
But oh God, I lost my train of thought. We were just talking about what?
Okay, the credit rating, Bob.
Yes, I'm sorry. They're making it political because they're threatening not funding the government, shutting down the government. And we just went through the debt limit thing.
Right.
The debt limit, not paying our debt. Now they're talking about not funding the government, shutting the government down. And it's all political again. Yeah. And that's what affects the rating, Juan, from the debt argument with the debt ceiling now, shutting down the government, not funding the government.
That's what they mean by divisions. Right. Okay.
And everything is political, just like Trump was trying to this in the political arena. Everything is now politics. Nothing is about legalities and traditional policies. Nobody want to follow things that have been set.
But Bob, does that really now? These folks are supposed to be very patriotic, but how do you
and fiscal,
and yet you will do something that will hurt the economy or the America, and that seems to be antithetical to what they're doing. That they that I thought that's you're supposed to be patriotic. I want to pay my tax. I want to help America.
Be fiscal responsible.
Right. And then they don't. We get our credit rate low because they don't want to pay the debts. Just like you said, the very thing they're going after Hunter Biden, they're always talking about lower taxes or getting rid of. They want to fire everybody at the IRS. Yet they're going to. Anyway, I know I'm speaking to the choir, but yeah. But okay. I got it off my chest. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, Juan. I'm glad you did. But it is ironic, Juan, that everything is politicized nowadays. You know, it's my opinion. You know, nobody wants to listen to nobody. Everybody wants to talk and voice their opinions, like on point opinions. That's why they have one opinion.
And we all have strong opinions.
But we try to build ours on facts. There's a lot of people that's not wrong. So I leave that there. But I mean, I don't really know why. My question is, where are we going as a country? Because it's like we're becoming a banana republic here. If people don't want to follow the law, which, I thought to be an American, you were a law-abiding. That's what made you.
But we're a nation of laws.
I don't care if you were a Democrat or a Republican or independent or Green Party. We were, ones that would follow the laws.
We're a nation of laws. That's right. That's what you always said. You said it right, Bob. And you had just started talking about DeSantis, and I went back. But DeSantis, speaking in New Hampshire at a campaign stop, said that we're going to go. And if I become president, we're going to start slitting throats. Who says that? Who says that? I mean, I've heard Trump, say some things, but DeSantis is something deranged about that man.
Yeah,
I'm just that's my opinion, folks. But he's something wrong with him. But
hey, I just want to put out there the eternal dark elf put out there when we were on the judicial. I missed it. He said need term limits, and I think I agree with you.
Yeah, that term limits, how the number of judges, I think should increase. Term limits, absolutely.
Yes,
these are lifelong appointments, all the way down to circuit court judges. Some of them are lifetime.
Yeah. I look at some of the old ones. I remember Strom Thurmond and
from the past, but
Helms, Jesse Helms, the most like were in a wheelchair, 100 years old, voting, sleeping.
But Bob, I read that the head of the government, I forget, I should have written down, head of the government association society, anyway, that protects government workers, they filed a complaint against DeSantis because they said that he threatened all these loyal people, no matter what party you for. He's threatened everything. Just that these men say these types of things it's shameful.
So Juan, is it ironic then that the only two times that there's been an insurrection was in Abraham Lincoln when he became president and Donald Trump?
Mm-hmm.
Dichotomy is the same things happen with the Confederate splitting, wanting to rule. Is that ironic that, am I making too much a correlation of time or no?
No, that's the exact correlation. I listened to a historian talk the other day about the tactics that were used by Trump during this time, fake electors and subversion of the vote and death threats and so forth. What's happening in these states is exactly how Reconstruction came after the Civil War. And these are the same tactics. I think that they showed on the thing of what was the former mayor, America's Mayor Giuliani, and how he lied about the two election workers, saying basically comparing them to being heroin dealers, passing around USB. And the correlation the lady was making from the historian was how they used the same tactics where this woman had to move out of her house. FBI told her she's going to have to move out because of death threats, the tactics that were used during Reconstruction. So the same tactics are being used. So when you say, am I making too much of that correlation? That's exactly what is happening.
So
they're trying with a little bit more modern twist. But
so to end this segment, Juan,
you're spot on.
So in this segment, I've raised this question. So when they came and slavery ended and so many black men became congressmen and senators.
Mm.
And then the Reconstruction came, Jim Crow,
Mm.
and got them all out.
Mm.
But then something happened. And how did we overcome from the Reconstruction, the resurrection, the insurrection?
Mm.
What is it that turned things around? Because it seems like we're at that pivot point in America right now. What do you think is going to turn all this around? Because the civil rights movement is what turned, I think,
Mm-hmm.
the Reconstruction back around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They put in place civil rights, but we don't seem to have a strong united front with civil rights with the young people today. So what do you think could possibly turn where we're going around? Do you have any idea?
Well, we're resilient. Great question. We're resilient. I think America has some resiliency in it. And I think that I'm optimistic, Bob. Usually you're the one who is optimistic. I'm optimistic that people will be driven to, you must come out and vote, even though they're trying things everywhere. You remember you talked about Alabama. They don't want to redraw the maps. They're ignoring the Supreme Court, states' rights. But you must be active. You must vote. We have lots of challenges, but our challenges are not as bad as what our forefathers, foremothers, and the people were up against. And so I think that there is a level of comfort, and I admit it. I've had and live a comfortable life, but I still am very active. It means something to me, and I think as a people and people and beyond racial, I think people don't realize that all their rights are going to be in trouble if they don't see some of these characters for who they are. They don't really care about the people on the whole. They care about themselves and their gains. So I think we have resiliency, Bob. I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to overcome some of this thing.
But the resiliency, though, is what is the resiliency? And this is what I think, Juan. I think in order for it to happen, I don't know what's going to happen, but the people, it's not going to be civil rights. It's not going to be black people. The people are going to have to stand up.
Absolutely.
Because they are going after democracy. Like you said, this is not just us black people. This is not just against tall people, short people, Democrats.
It's democracy. Absolutely.
And the people.
The challenge is there.
The people going to have to come together, Juan, and stand up and say no more.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know what's going to be, but that's what's going to need to be. The people going to have to come, black, white, yellow, red, and the people who are for democracy and for human rights.
Right.
I think we finally have reached that pinnacle, Juan.
Right.
It's my hope and it's my prayer. So, Juan, get ready to close out. We got a few more minutes, man. Let's talk about one of our favorite subjects that we were a part of. It's sports, man. Right. Commandos brought over by a group with Magic Johnson. Do you think they're going to change the name?
I think so. I think
they need to.
Yeah, Commanders is.
So look what they came up with.
Well, but Bob, I don't even think they would have brought that subject up if everybody really was into that Commanders name. But we with having Magic Johnson, it was a very big, I think a very smart move by the ownership group, which are two other men from here locally. I played against some of the high schools that these guys went to out here, but very wealthy individuals. But I think the community is very excited about them, and I think they're going to change the name, and I think they're going to move back to DC.
I think, look, so this is one of the recommendations they said, the Red Tails.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard somebody throw a red tail.
That's what the daggone Tuskegee Airmen called, man. Now, come on, stop that. Get your own name. But I think they're going to change the name, and I think they need to name them diplomats.
That's not bad, Bob.
Or the ambassadors.
Yeah, that's not bad.
The Washington diplomats. I mean, because we're such a town with that, you know.
Yeah, you put that in, throw that in there.
Yeah, you know, why not? Other subject one.
Yeah, quick. That's right there. You mentioned earlier Orlando Magic.
Yes, they gave how much? It was a bunch of money.
It was $50,000.
Okay.
But I'm sure she's probably sliding some other things. I think obviously they've given him much more under their family name. But the fact that they did it under Orlando Magic, I think was, I'll use a phrase we learned when we were overseas playing, Bob, in England. It was very cheeky of her. It was cheeky, man. It was very cheeky.
British term.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Very British term.
Well, that's the Vos family. They harsh.
Yeah,
remember his wife was over education and
especially and her brother or the brother on the other side. He was over that Black Hawk.
Against his son-in-law, Eric.
Right. Yeah, he was overseas. They were mercenaries.
Blackwater.
Yeah, man. They're
with Cheney. With Cheney, all that money they got.
Yeah, big money. Under Enterprise Rent-A-Car money. Enterprise Rent-A-Car on one side and something else on the other side.
It's all tied together.
But Bobby, you heard about the college football? What's happening with that?
Yeah, the Pac, where they all moving to the Big Ten or something. The Pac-12.
Something like what Pac-12 only has 4 teams left in it. They're chasing that money, man.
Yeah,
they're chasing that money.
So who was it that went over? Washington? Was it Washington?
Washington State, I think. Arizona State.
It wasn't for the money. It wasn't for the money. They just want to be on TV more. Yeah, right. Stop that thing.
Right. It's all for the money.
All for the money.
And Bob, what's interesting too, they all are mad about the players making money now, the college players, and yet they're all chasing money. Right? The whole school is chasing money.
Wow, can you imagine if I was still playing now? All the Knicks names that I made up.
Right.
The Surgeon, Sweetwater Kinzer, Champagne Kinzer. I'll be making so much money.
Right. Well, guys, people now don't even have to make the professional rings. One of the gymnasts forget her school. I guess I shouldn't say her school on their line, but she's one of the leading influencers, and she's making like a couple million a year already. She's on commercials, and she's rolling, man.
Thinking about that one gymnast. Simone Biles is back.
The big comeback. She's back.
One hands down over there.
Won. And Coco Gauff won today in the DC Open, folks.
She did?
Yeah, she won. Won the championship.
Why all the black golfers only win the events when they're here locally? Because it's the same thing with black guy. What's his name?
Otiofo?
No. Barton. What's his name? The black guy who's golfing now.
I'm talking about tennis, Bob. You talk about golf?
Yeah, but I'm talking about he won the event here. The
Tiger brother from North Carolina. Yeah,
Varner.
Harold Varner III.
Harold Varner. Why black folks in the big sports, they only seem to win when they come here?
And moved to Live Golf and got $4 million.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He won the Tiger event that was here.
And I haven't seen him since.
And then Coco
$5 million run home.
And like you said, Coco, she won, but but you know what Trump said? DC is disgusting. He never seen so much graffiti. It's nasty. But yet he want to come back here and be president.
Come right back here.
Stop that foolishness. All right. So Juan, let's wrap it up, man. We hit the hour. And this has been a good show. A lot of stuff Juan has recovered. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in around the world. A lot of our friends are on Juan from England and Scotland, so that's pretty cool. And then our wonderful producer and director is normally on. Sabrina, we thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We
couldn't do without you. Because two males, we need that.
Bob, and I get a lot of hits on my Facebook page when I send out my blast. They like the things I tease them with topics, but they send a lot of thumbs up on theirs and on the Facebook thing. So I think they go back and listen to it. So send some things, y'all. Hit me up on Facebook. Say, Juan, y'all got to talk about this, but critique a lot of my cousins.
Share on Facebook Live and on YouTube. And by the way, our show, Juan, I know some people say, well, there ain't that many people on here, Bob, but what happened for some reason, our show, Juan, everybody got so much to do. Most of our viewers come from people going back and looking at our show
Right.
that is archived. So you can go out there and catch our shows under
Absolutely. Absolutely.
under On Point Opinions,
Yeah.
all our old shows, and this show. We archiving a lot of people because a lot of people doing a lot of things, so they catch us on the rebound.
Yeah.
So thank y'all for tuning in. The
And
next
people who need financial advice, go back, check out Bob's show.
the Fit Show.
Fit Show.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's the Fit Show, FITT.
And everybody needs financial literacy. It's tight out here.
Thank you. And the next show for On Point Opinions is going to be September the 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on, check us out. We'd like to thank Good Show Juan and have a wonderful day, everybody.
All right. Take us out, Bob.
Peace.
Jordan, peace.